Hey there, Pineblock here, and I'm going to be giving a bit of a recap of week one of the IBL B League. So basically, just talking about all the games that happened in the B League last week. There is also a B League game from, in theory, that week being recorded being played right now, I believe, while I'm recording this. But that's okay. It'll be in the next one if I make more of these, which I might not. But I had time this week, so why not? I'm not going to talk about any of the games that I played in because that would be silly, and also what was I gonna say? I'm gonna be trying to talk about which games I thought were the best games. So what games I really recommend watching if anyone watching this hasn't already watched all of them already. Starting out, we have the Humble Bees versus Sugar Rush. Now, this game was a pretty close game. I mean, for being a 2-0. Now, typically, I prefer the close games. So usually, I don't like 2-0s, but this 2-0, I'm making a bit of an exception for because not only was it really close. I mean, on Courtyard, which was Sugar Rush's map pick, Humble Bees almost managed to take it, and in round six, they had a fill that almost worked out. They were one block away from taking it to a map three, which unfortunately they couldn't convert the round. They got stopped from filling, and Sugar Rush cleanly won the next one as well. But the reason this game is so exciting and the reason I remember this game so well, and I think many other people also remember for this as well, is I have the fifth round highlighted for a reason. If we scroll down to the fifth round, we'll see um prime names on the stats sheet because he got a 1v3 this round in which he got 0 kills, but Tausi jumped in lava on his own, and then he block trapped both Glitch and Pinky in like the same 2 seconds, which is honestly clip of the season, at least right now, and probably will stay that way for a while because I mean, come on, that was just like a really never before seen moment. I had never seen that in IBL before. I mean, it was just really really exciting, really hyped to watch. Anyway, moving on to the next game, we have Frostbite versus Impulse. Now, this game was really close as well. This was a three map game, which honestly, each map there was one team that just seemed to kind of dominate on that map. I think that if you watched map one, you could definitely have assumed that Frostbite was going to take the whole thing. I mean, they just had so much map control, so much space, and more importantly, just so much tempo. Like the whole tempo of the match was just on their side. They were just up the whole time. It was really looked like, I mean, I could have believed that they would have swept the whole game just from there, 8-2, 8-1, even. Of course, Impulse then, they brought it back, showing off that they are still an extremely strong team and winning the next two maps. And I think that, even the map one, you might say, oh, it's just a bad map for Impulse. I think that that would give a bit less credit to Frostbite they deserve. I think Frostbite's just a really good team as well. I think we'll be seeing that in the season that Frostbite's going to get underrated and that they're going to end up doing a lot better than people expect. Especially we'll see that later on in this week. They for sure got underrated in one of these games, and I think they end up clutching up in a big way. Um, yeah, this game I definitely recommend watching. It was very good. Yeah. Moving on to Eclipse versus Sugar Rush. Now, again, I like close games more, so this game not necessarily my favorite because again, 8-1 for Sugar Rush. I mean, this just shows off how strong Sugar Rush is in the melee, in the mechanics, just sheer dominance. I mean, Eclipse, they might have tried with like strategies and just try to outsmart the Sugar Rush, but I mean, it just didn't work out for them at all. They just got out mechanics really hard and they couldn't really do much about it. Uh, I think this is going to happen to a lot of teams this season where Sugar Rush will just have a dominant victory over them. I think this is one of the team. This is probably the team to look out for in the B League in terms of just pure mechanics difference. I mean, look at that roster. It's really stacked. Moving on, we have Shot Glass versus Wither. Now, this game, if we're talking about close games, games that are came down to the wire, I think we can't. I mean, there's two games this week that really pop to mind, come to mind here. But I mean, this game's one of them. I mean, round seven, round four. It was really like a really really close game. Really really exciting to watch. Especially this game, I think I was most excited to watch was the rookie performances. I mean, both these teams have very very interesting rookies. I mean, Softy I think is a really strong player, and he also shows up more in the next game they play. But still doing really well in this game, dropping 10 kills on his debut game, quite like a good showing. And then Astrobor also dropping 10 in his first showing, going 10-3 in fact in his first ever IBL game, which I mean that's just Astrobor. I mean, Will Astrobor, common Will Astrobor W. I'm a Glazer, by the way, in case that wasn't obvious. But you know regardless, it was a really really close game. It was really really fun to watch. I mean, Wither showed off some dominance on Villa. But before that, I honestly thought it could have been around like a 21 rounder. It was a really really engaging game the whole way through. Um, yeah. Moving on to the next game, we had Infrared versus Shot Glass. Although in these games, I would like to more or less, talk about the key difference because we have two Infrared games back to back. They lose against Shot Glass, but they win against Donut Droppers. See, I think that the key difference we can see here is that in this screenshot, the bottom frags are, Urchin and Yogurt. But if we go to the next image, Urchin drops 12 and Yogurt goes positive, 3 and 2. His teammates, look at this. Some of them don't go positive, but Yogurt goes positive. I think if I'm infrared here, I'm gonna prioritize giving Yogurt as much playtime as possible, as well as making sure Urchin always drops 12. I think that will maximize their chances of victory. I think that if Yogurt was playing every map, this team would be more likely to win. That's my personal opinion. I think that this game is not worth watching because Yogurt doesn't get 3 kills, and this game is worth watching because Yogurt goes positive. That is my official opinion. I think that that's just objectively correct. No one can say anything about that. Yeah. The next game was Wither versus Serpents. Now, this game was also very close. I mean, Serpents kind of swept map one, which was Villa, which again, the Villa was a sweep for Wither last time. So this kind of shows that, even though Wither seemed to be really good at that map, Serpents kind of just took them by surprise and won 4 in a row. It was their map pick too. Wither then just came back, and especially, I mean, they showed off that again. Even though they got upset on their map pick, they still have something to prove to the league that they were underrated, and they really showed up in that respect. I mean, especially I remember watching Classic, I felt that Serpents looked almost helpless, and I mean, Serpents is a really really good team this season. Their roster is quite stacked. I mean, Mind Lover, Sky Oreos, Avalon Bark, as just the top 3 players here are just really really strong as a trio, and I mean they really looked like they couldn't do anything against Wither there, which shows that Wither can really put out dominant performances and just take teams by surprise. I don't think Serpents probably expected to lose this game, but they ended up losing it, and I think that really shows that people are gonna again, like Frostbite, people are gonna underestimate Wither. I think after this week, Wither and Frostbite are probably both jumping up in people's opinions by quite a bit. They both had quite good showings, and I mean we'll get to that in a little bit. Moving on to the next game, we have the Willowed Hearts. I always say the Withered Hearts. The Willowed Hearts versus Eclipse. Another loss for Eclipse here. But Willowed Hearts having their debut game, and I wanted to quickly look at the stat line here because Dolphin Man RL was, I think he was 12-0 up until the very end where he died 2 rounds in a row, which unfortunately he could have had an insane stat line for his debut game. I mean, he still had an insane stat line for his debut game, but it could have just been something absolutely remarkable and like insane. And instead, it's only insane. 12-2, KDR of 6, pretty light work for the. I mean, he showed up in this game and played extremely well. I think his first game back in IBL since possibly season 1, and showed that he definitely deserves a place in the B League as really really strong player here, definitely. Willowed Hearts, and I mean they just showed up really well this game. I mean their roster is quite very interesting roster, honestly. Um, and they just kind of shut off all their skills. I mean, it was a really strong force. Like they played for the entire both maps here, which was just Dolphin Man, Raining, Sacronix, Hyatt's Hunter, who just all had great performances. This was just extremely well played by them. And again, Eclipse just really couldn't compete against them in this game, and it was a 8-3 win for Willowed Hearts. Next game was also a Willowed Hearts game. It was Serpents versus Willowed Hearts, and I mean this game, Avalon Bark dropped 18. Just to say that was, I think that's the second highest in the B League. We'll get to the highest in just a second here, but that was a really, I mean, in that few number of rounds, that small number of rounds, dropping 18 is pretty insane. But I mean, that's just showing off why Serpents is so strong. Is just I mean, they all played well this game. All 3 of their top frags I was mentioning earlier, and I mean, they lost their first game for sure, and I think they came back this one wanting to prove that they are definitely still a top team and something to be taken seriously. And so they kind of dominated this one. I mean, Willowed Hearts put a bit of a fight on Serpent's map pick, interesting enough, on Prison. I mean, I kind of expected that. I think Prison is going to be a good map for Willowed Hearts for sure. All same with Watermill, but I think these two teams are honestly both good at similar maps. And this game, Serpent just showed off that they had I think they just had pure mechanical more skill in this particular game. Um, that's really what carried them to victory, especially on the back of Avalon Bark doing just so much this game to guarantee their team the win. Yeah, like I said, this is 18 kills, but it's not the most we've seen so far in the B League. That goes to Sage in the next game, Hang plus 10 versus Frostbite. But I mean, he dropped the most kills of anyone this season so far, and lost, unfortunately. I mean, this when I was saying there were two games that were the closest. I said one of them was going to be Shot Glass versus Wither. The other one is Hang plus 10 Frostbite. This was an absolutely insane game. I can't even go over all of it right now. I mean, it was just really just absolute crazy, especially map 3. It was an 8-round map 3 with a draw in round 7. So that was quite, I mean, had me on the edge of my seat for sure. Honestly, I of any game this week, I recommend watching this one the most. It was like incredibly intense the whole way through. I mean, honestly, a lot of surprising things happen. You would think on a map like Courtyard, that would really favor Hang 10 or Hang plus 10 because they just have, again, Sage, G95, HG Smalls, RNG Puka here, or just like all mechanical players who you think would just out mechanics this team. But they ended up losing mostly off the back of the bow game for Frostbite. Showing up to actually be like a lot stronger than theirs was on that map, especially for sure. Because, and also on Slay, you could see that as well, which is also a bow heavy map. I mean, Frostbite just managed to hit every pre-shot every round against Hang plus 10. And also the invis value from Pixel was just going in fast to punish the pre-shots that Hang plus 10 were taking and really let them clinch that map, which you would have thought might have gone to the way again for the mechanical team. It was Hang plus 10's map pick. But they got outbowed, and um that really showed and allowed them to take the map and then take the whole game after that. Yeah, again, on any game this week, I would definitely recommend to watch this one as, in my opinion, the best game of the week so far. And if I had to do a ranking again, like obviously, I think it's pretty obvious. If we're gonna do a ranking of like game of the season pick, this is game of the season for me right now. Obviously, week 1. I'm just saying, that's how my rankings sit. This is the number 1 spot. Probably Shot Glass, where there is number 2. That is all the games for week 1 so far. You might notice there is a game here, Showtime versus Donut Droppers, which is currently being played while I'm recording. But I will probably put that into the next week's video. If I make one, I probably will. I would like to, but I might not have time necessarily. So just to record, or I might be too lazy, which is also possible. Um, but I will try to make this a kind of a weekly thing. I'm not sure if I'll do the A League since I'm not really playing in the A League, and I have less reason to watch every game, so I might not watch some of those, and I might just miss out, and then I can't really give good commentary, can I? I don't know if my commentary is good anyway, but hopefully it was at least somewhat interesting. I think that's where I'll probably like end the video. Goodbye.